Polo Grounds, October 6, 1922, Game 3 of World Series. Friday afternoon, temperature 68 degrees but atmosphere cold, hostile. New York Giants versus New York Yankees. Same city, same ballpark, different dugouts, different worlds. And standing between those worlds, hatred so thick you could cut it with knife. Babe Ruth in Yankees dugout, John McGraw in Giants dugout. Two men, two philosophies, two futures of baseball colliding. Ruth represented new game, power, home runs, spectacle. McGraw represented old game, strategy, fundamentals, control. They shared ballpark, but nothing else. Giants owned Polo Grounds. Yankees were tenants, paying rent to play in building they did not own. That arrangement stuck in Ruth's throat like bone, made every game feel like invasion, like trespassing, and McGraw never let him forget it. Never let Yankees forget they were guests, unwelcome guests, tolerated only because money changed hands. This was third straight World Series between these teams. 1921, Giants won. 1922, Giants leading 2-0 with one-tie game. Yankees desperate. Ruth more desperate. This was supposed to be his redemption. His chance to prove 1922 regular season disasters were behind him. 5 suspensions, stripped captaincy, .3, 1.5, batting average instead of usual .370 plus. Only 35 home runs instead of 50 plus. Worst statistical year of career. And now World Series was becoming worst postseason of career. Through 2.5 games, Ruth batting .118. 2 hits in 17 at-bats. 1 RBI. Multiple strikeouts. Multiple failures. And McGraw was loving every second. From first pitch of Game 1, McGraw unleashed strategy. Not just baseball strategy. Psychological warfare. He ordered pitchers throw Ruth nothing but curveballs, low and away. Unhittable curveballs. Breaking pitches that started over plate, then dove into dirt. Ruth's weakness. Everyone knew it. McGraw exploited it mercilessly. But pitching strategy was just beginning. Real weapon was verbal assault. McGraw sat in Giants' dugout, third base side, and orchestrated symphony of insults. Personal attacks, vicious mockery. Every time Ruth came to plate, McGraw's voice carried across field. "Here comes the big ape! Overpaid monkey! Swing and miss, fat boy!" Giants players joined chorus. Entire bench screaming at Ruth. Not baseball chatter. Personal hatred poured into words. They attacked his appearance, his intelligence, his worth, his manhood, called him overpaid, overrated, over the hill at 27 years old. Said he was finished, washed up, said Yankees wasted money on has-been. Ruth heard every word. Impossible not to hear. Polo Grounds' intimate ballpark, dugouts close to field. Sound traveled, and McGraw made sure his voice traveled loudest. Game 1, Ruth struck out twice. McGraw's laughter echoed across Polo Grounds, Giants' bench joining mockery. Ruth's face burned with shame walking back to dugout. Game 2, tie game called for darkness. Ruth went 1 for 4. Single to left field. Unimpressive. McGraw yelled it was lucky. "Blind squirrel finds nut." Now Game 3. Friday afternoon, 36,000 fans packed into Polo Grounds, half expecting Ruth explosion, half expecting continued failure. This was Ruth's chance. Chance to silence critics. Chance to make McGraw eat words. Chance to be hero Yankees needed. Instead became disaster he would never forget. First inning. Ruth stepped into batter's box. Left-handed stance. Bat held high. Crowd buzzing with anticipation. Giants pitcher Art Neff on mound. Following McGraw's orders precisely. Curveball low and away. Ruth swung. Topped ball. Weak grounder to second base. Easy out. McGraw's voice immediate. That's the mighty Babe Ruth. My son hits better. Third inning. Ruth's second at-bat. Naif threw 3 straight curveballs, all low and away, all diving into dirt. Ruth chased third one. Desperate swing. Ball in catcher's mitt before bat arrived. Strikeout. Ruth slammed bat into ground walking back. Frustrated, embarrassed, McGraw standing on dugout steps, laughing, pointing, making sure everyone saw Ruth's failure, making sure Ruth knew everyone saw. Fifth inning, Ruth's third chance. Neff threw fastball middle of plate. Ruth's eyes lit up. This was pitch he'd been waiting for. Swung hard, made contact, but topped it. Weak pop-up to shallow right field. Lazy fly ball. Right fielder Ross Youngs jogged under it. Easy catch. Ruth stood at home plate watching. Knowing before ball landed it was out. Pathetic contact. Little league swing. McGraw. My grandmother hits harder than that, and she's been dead 3 years. Giants' bench erupted in laughter. Even some Yankees players looked away. Couldn't watch Ruth's humiliation. Ninth inning, Yankees losing 3-0. Last chance for Ruth. Last chance to do something. Anything. To salvage pride. To show he belonged on this stage. 2 outs. Runner on first. Ruth represented potential tying run if he could reach base. If others could follow. If miracle could happen. Neff threw curveball low and away. Ruth laid off. Ball 1. Good discipline. Second pitch. Same location. Ruth laid off again. Ball 2, crowd stirring. Maybe Ruth figured it out. Maybe he would walk, force McGraw to face him again. Third pitch. Curveball again. But this one started over plate. Ruth had to protect, had to swing. Made contact. Grounder to shortstop. Routine play. Throw to first base. Out. Game over. Giants won 3-0. Yankees down 3-0 in series with 1 tie. Elimination 1 game away. Ruth 0 for 4. Series average now .118. Worst World Series performance by superstar anyone could remember. And as Ruth walked off field toward Yankees clubhouse, McGraw stood at top of Giants' dugout steps, arms crossed, smile on face, satisfaction dripping from every pore. He had broken Babe Ruth, made him look ordinary, made him look beatable. "See you tomorrow, Babe," McGraw shouted across field. "If you bother showing up, bring your grandmother. She might hit better." Yankees clubhouse silent. Funeral atmosphere. Players sitting at lockers, heads down. Nobody talking. Season slipping away. Championship dream dying. And sitting in corner, Babe Ruth. Face red, jaw clenched. Hands gripping uniform pants, so hard, knuckles white. Manager Miller Huggins approached carefully. "Babe, it's just 1 game. We'll get them tomorrow." Ruth said nothing, just stared at floor. Other players watching nervously. They knew this look, seen it before. Ruth at breaking point. Bob Musil, Ruth's closest friend on team, sat down beside him. "McGraw's in your head. That's what he wants. Don't give him satisfaction." Ruth finally spoke, voice low, dangerous. "He's been running his mouth all series, calling me names, making me look like fool. In front of whole city, in front of whole country. So what? Ignore him. I can't ignore him. Every pitch, every at-bat, his voice in my ear, telling me I'm nothing, telling me I'm failure. And you know what's worse? Right now, he's right. I am failing. 2 hits in 17 at-bats. I'm playing like amateur, like nobody, and he knows it, and he won't shut up about it." Musil stood. "Then prove him wrong tomorrow, hit 3 home runs, make him choke on his words." Ruth stood too, started undressing, taking off uniform. Everyone thought he was showering, getting ready to leave, moving on. But something was wrong. Ruth wasn't moving toward showers. He was pacing, back and forth, like caged animal, energy building, pressure mounting, and then he stopped, looked at door. Not the door to showers, door that led to hallway. Hallway that connected clubhouses, door that led to Giants' side. Lou Gehrig, young player just watching Legends, later remembered this moment. Said he saw something change in Ruth's eyes, saw a decision being made, saw a point of no return being crossed. Ruth walked toward door. Musil. "Babe, where you going?" Ruth. "To have conversation." "With who?" "With John McGraw." Hallway between clubhouses was tunnel, narrow, concrete walls, dim lighting, designed for stadium workers, not players. But both clubhouses accessible from this hallway, Yankees' door on one end, Giants' door on other. Ruth walked down hallway, each step echo in confined space. He was still in baseball pants and undershirt, no shoes, just socks on concrete. But he didn't care, didn't think about appearance, only thought about McGraw, about 9 innings of insults, about being made to look small. Behind him, Musil and 2 other Yankees followed, not to join fight, to prevent it, to pull Ruth back if necessary. But they were too slow, too late. Ruth reached Giants' clubhouse door, did not knock, did not wait. Grabbed handle, turned, pushed. Door opened, and Babe Ruth, 240 pounds of rage and humiliation, entered enemy territory. Giants' clubhouse was celebration, players laughing, talking, reliving plays. They had just won Game 3, were 1 win away from championship, were dominating Yankees, dominating Babe Ruth. Energy was joy, triumph, victory. Until door crashed open, until Babe Ruth stepped inside. Room went silent. Instantly, every conversation stopped. Every laugh died. 25 Giants players froze, staring at intruder, at uninvited guest, at man who had no business being in their space. Some players stood, defensive, ready, not sure if this was joke or threat, not sure if Ruth was crazy or just stupid. In back of room, near manager's office, John McGraw turned, saw Ruth, and smiled. Not friendly smile, knowing smile, satisfied smile, smile that said, "I knew you'd come." Ruth scanned room, found McGraw, locked eyes. Everything else disappeared. 25 Giants players might as well have been invisible. 200 pounds of professional athletes surrounding him might as well have been ghosts. Ruth saw only McGraw, and McGraw saw only Ruth. The moment stretched, suspended in tension. Then Ruth spoke. "You and me, we need to talk. If you're enjoying these untold baseball stories and want more, I'd really appreciate your support. If you're watching on TV right now, please grab your phone and search for our channel to subscribe. It truly helps us bring you more of these incredible historical moments. And whether you're on TV or mobile, drop a comment below. Was Ruth right to confront McGraw, or did he just make things worse? I'd love to hear your thoughts." McGraw stepped forward. Not rushed, casual, in control. He was shorter than Ruth, 5'7" versus Ruth's 6'2", but McGraw never acted small, never showed intimidation. 30 years managing baseball had taught him fear was weakness, and John McGraw did not show weakness. "Ruth, you lost your way. Yankees clubhouse is other direction." Voice dripping sarcasm. Giants players snickered. Nervous laughter. Still not sure if this would escalate to violence. Ruth took 3 steps deeper into room, now standing in center of clubhouse. Surrounded. "You've been running your mouth all series, calling me names, making jokes. Think you're funny?" McGraw's smile widened. "I think I'm winning. 3 games to 0, And you're batting what? .100? .150? Hard to tell when numbers are that embarrassing. More laughter from Giants players, but quieter now. They sensed this was different. This was not baseball trash talk. This was personal. Ruth's voice dropped, became quieter, more dangerous. You don't know when to stop, do you? You keep pushing, keep insulting, like you're trying to make me do something. Do something? McGraw stepped closer. Now only 10 feet separated them. Like what, babe? Like swing at another curveball in the dirt? Like ground out to end another inning? Like go 0 for 4 in biggest game of your career? What exactly are you going to do? Ruth's fists clenched. Several Giants players moved forward, ready to intervene if Ruth swung, but Ruth didn't swing, just stared. I came here to tell you face to face. You crossed line. What you said out there today wasn't baseball. That was personal. And if you keep talking like that tomorrow, we're going to have problem. McGraw laughed. Genuine laugh. Problem? You think you're problem for me? Look around, babe. You're in my clubhouse, in my ballpark. These are my players. We just beat your team. Again. You want to talk about problems? Your problem is you can't hit curveball. Your problem is you're choking in World Series. Your problem is you thought being big, strong home run hitter meant you were untouchable. But I'm touching you, every inning, every at-bat. And there's nothing you can do about it. Ruth took another step forward, now only 5 feet from McGraw. Giants players tensed, ready to jump in, but McGraw held up hand, stopping them. He wanted this, wanted confrontation, wanted Ruth desperate and angry, because angry hitters make mistakes. Emotional players lose focus. McGraw was winning psychological war and knew it. You finished, babe? Because I have champagne to celebrate. And you have, what? Another sleepless night thinking about how badly you're failing? That was breaking point. Ruth lunged forward, not to punch, to grab, to get hands on McGraw, to physically express frustration and rage that had been building for 3 games. But Giants players moved faster. 4 men grabbed Ruth simultaneously, held his arms, pushed him backward, contained him before violence could happen. Ruth struggled, not seriously, just instinct, but he was held, and McGraw stood 5 feet away, untouched, still smiling. Get him out of here, McGraw said calmly, like ordering trash removed. Giants players pushed Ruth toward door. He resisted, but not enough. Part of him wanted to leave. Part of him knew this was mistake, that coming here changed nothing, proved nothing. At door, Ruth turned back. One final look at McGraw. Tomorrow I'm hitting everything you throw at me. McGraw. Sure you are, babe. Just like today. Just like yesterday. Just like you've been hitting all series. Door slammed. Ruth stood in a hallway. Yankees players who had followed stood nearby. Silent, awkward, nobody knowing what to say. Musil put hand on Ruth's shoulder. Feel better? Ruth shook his head. No, made it worse. He got in my head even more. They walked back to Yankees clubhouse. Ruth finished getting dressed, showered, left stadium, went to hotel, lay in bed staring at ceiling, replaying confrontation, hearing McGraw's laugh, seeing his smile, knowing he had been played, knowing McGraw wanted exactly this, wanted Ruth emotional, wanted Ruth distracted, wanted Ruth thinking about anything except baseball. And it worked. Game 4 next day. Ruth went 1 for 4. Single, his only hit entire series after clubhouse incident. Yankees lost 4-3. Series over, Giants swept. Ruth finished World Series batting point 118, 2 hits, 17 at-bats, 1 RBI. One of worst World Series performances by superstar in history. In Giants' clubhouse, celebration erupted. Champagne flowing, players dancing, McGraw accepting congratulations. Someone asked him about Ruth's clubhouse invasion previous night. McGraw smiled. Babe came looking for fight. I gave him psychological beating instead, better than any punch. Hit him where it hurts, his pride. And today he went 1 for 4. Still couldn't hit curveball, still couldn't beat us. Coming into my clubhouse was stupidest thing he could have done. Showed me I was in his head, showed me he was breaking. And I exploited that today. Threw more curveballs, more insults. And he crumbled. McGraw raised glass. To Babe Ruth, great home run hitter, terrible World Series performer, and even worse at psychological warfare. Giants players laughed, toasted, celebrated championship. Meanwhile, Ruth sat in Yankees' clubhouse, alone. Everyone else had showered and left. He sat at locker, still in uniform, staring at floor. Miller Huggins found him there. "Babe, you coming?" "I failed. Biggest stage, biggest moment. And I failed." "You had bad series. Happens to everyone." "Not like this. Not .118. Not getting shut down completely. Not letting John McGraw get in my head. Not storming into their clubhouse like idiot, making it worse." Huggins sat down. "What you did yesterday, going into their clubhouse, that was mistake. But mistake born from caring too much, from wanting to win so badly it hurt. That's not weakness, that's passion. But you need to learn. Some battles you don't fight with fists or confrontations. Some battles you fight with performance. McGraw beat you this series, not with curveballs, with psychology. He made you think about him instead of baseball, made you emotional instead of focused. That's the lesson here." Ruth looked up. "So, what do I do? You remember this feeling, this humiliation, this failure, and next time we face Giants, you channel it differently, not into anger, into preparation, into focus, into making every at-bat count. McGraw won this battle. But war isn't over. Yankees aren't going anywhere. And neither are you." Winter, 1922 to 1923. Ruth trained differently, harder, smarter. He worked on hitting curveballs low and away, hours in batting cage, studying pitchers, learning to lay off bad pitches, learning to wait for his pitch instead of chasing. He also worked on mental game, on not letting insults affect him, on staying calm under pressure, on channeling anger into focus. When 1923 season arrived, Yankees had new home. Yankee Stadium, no more renting from Giants, no more being tenants, no more sharing space with enemies. Their own ballpark, their own identity, and Ruth played like man-possessed. .393 batting average, 41 home runs, 131 RBIs, MVP caliber season. Yankees won pennant. Faced Giants in World Series. Again. McGraw tried same strategy. Curveballs low and away, verbal insults from dugout, psychological warfare. But Ruth was different. He ignored McGraw's voice, focused on pitches, waited for his opportunities, and crushed them. Game 1, Ruth went 3 for 5, triple and 2 singles. Game 2, Ruth homered, crushed ball into right field seats. First home run in Yankee Stadium World Series history. Game 4, Ruth homered again. Game 6, Ruth went 3 for 4. Yankees won series 4-2. First championship in franchise history. Ruth batted .368. 3 home runs. 8 RBIs. Complete redemption from 1922 disaster. And as Yankees celebrated, Ruth walked past Giants' dugout. McGraw sat there, defeated, watching Yankees celebrate. Ruth stopped, looked at McGraw, said nothing, just smiled, small smile, knowing smile, smile that said, "I learned," then walked away. McGraw never forgot that smile, never forgot how Ruth came back stronger, never forgot that psychological warfare works both ways, and sometimes victim becomes master. Years later, after both men retired, reporter asked McGraw about rivalry with Ruth. McGraw admitted, "That clubhouse incident in 1922 was turning point. I thought I broke him, thought I won, but I just gave him motivation, gave him target, gave him reason to become better. If I had just beaten him quietly, maybe he stays same player, but I had to rub it in, had to insult him, had to make it personal, and that personal hatred made him train harder, made him focus more, made him come back in 1923 and destroy us. My biggest mistake as manager? Making Babe Ruth angry enough to improve." Ruth, when asked about same incident, said, "McGraw taught me valuable lesson in 1922. He taught me that words can hurt worse than punches, that psychological battles are real battles, and that storming into enemy clubhouse accomplishes nothing except looking foolish. But he also taught me that best revenge isn't confrontation, it's performance. In 1923, I didn't say single word to McGraw, just hit 3 home runs and won championship. That said everything I needed to say." October 6th, 1922. Night Babe Ruth invaded Giants clubhouse. Night he confronted John McGraw. Night he let emotions override judgment. Night he made mistake. But mistakes teach. Failures motivate. Humiliation transforms. Ruth learned that night that being great hitter was not enough. Had to be mentally strong, too. Had to control emotions. Had to let performance speak instead of fists. And when he learned that lesson, he became more than home run king, became complete player, became champion. Giants clubhouse door. Wrong door. Right door. Depends on perspective. Ruth walked through wrong door that night, but walking through that door, making that mistake, feeling that humiliation, that led him to walk through right doors later. Championship doors, legacy doors, immortality doors. John McGraw won battle October 6th, 1922. But Babe Ruth won war, and that made all difference.